Hi guys, how are you doing? Today I want to talk about the latest Whitesnake album, The Purple Album. Now when this release got announced in February 2015, I was a bit disappointed. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I wasn't excited at all, which is a very unusual thing to happen to me when I hear a new Whitesnake is gonna come out. I felt this was a bit unnecessary and pointless release, and also I was really looking forward to new music, especially since the last Whitesnake album was released 4 long years ago, 2011, Forevermore. I thought the album was quite consistent. So yeah, 4 years have gone by. 2015. This is what we have. I think I'm a big Whitesnake fan, and I really couldn't pass up the opportunity to listen to this album. So here I am. I just finished giving it a couple of spins. And to be honest, this album is not as bad as I thought. It is rather good, it is very enjoyable. It is a good representation of what Whitesnake sounds like in the modern days. You have this very modern sound, guitar driven, almost touching on the metal side. But again, that's what we've been getting from Whitesnake from 2008, Good to Be Bad. So I wasn't really expecting any different in terms of sound and production. The production is quite good again. It sounds very solid, very clear. At times it sounds a bit overproduced, a bit robotic, but again, I wasn't expecting any different because this is what we've been getting for quite some time now. The performance is great, very proficient musicians, very high level of technicality, and also some of the old and legendary guitar solos from Richie Blackmore have been reworked and in some cases replaced by a more fitting to the era solos by those two guys. So I mean, there is not much complaint in terms of the music itself. I think one of my biggest complaints has to be obviously David Coverdale's voice, and I know this is a great subject of debate amongst Whitesnake fans. There's a lot of you who claim that he still sounds great, that he can still pull off the classic tunes, and I beg to differ because I've seen Whitesnake a couple of times live and he just lost it big time. He still sounds great at times in this record, especially when he does the very high notes, and also when he does the low key ones, he still manages to sound quite decent. But for the rest of it, it just makes you cringe at times, and makes you wonder why he didn't quit many years ago. Now, on the other hand, I'm not saying that I want him to quit because he still produces great music. As I mentioned before, I quite enjoyed Forevermore, Good to Be Bad, and thanks to the help of modern technology recording, he doesn't sound as bad as he would without all that aid. So that's it in regards of David Coverdale's voice. And one other complaint I have for this record is the non-inclusion of Glenn Hughes. Now, Glenn is an integral part of the equation of that era of the Magic, and not having him around kind of brings the whole vibe down a bit when you are so accustomed to listen to these songs, and having both guys, David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes, doing all the vocal parts in the songs from Stormbringer and Burn. So I don't really understand why he wasn't invited to be part of this record, because I know these two guys are really great friends, and maybe Glenn didn't have the time. And I'm a really big fan of his because I've heard obviously the his latest bands that he was involved in, Black Country Communion and also California Breed, and you can tell that is still in top form vocally. So yeah, I think this album would have benefited greatly from having him around. So again, that's a real shame. So overall, I think this album is quite enjoyable. It sounds very consistent, but again, it lacks the magic and the soul of those recordings from the 70s. But on the other hand, I know that that is a very hard thing to replicate, almost impossible, because you have different tools, different players, different vibe, everything is different. So trying to regain that magic is just plain impossible. But I think the guys did a great job here, and also trying to revisit your golden years, those songs that made you big and taught you so much, is a very risky thing, because not only you did those songs when you were at your peak, but also, you know, all those players that that did played music were so legendary, and they created this trademark sound of theirs back in the day, which is something that again is really hard to find nowadays in today's musicians, because pretty much everything has been explored. So I think that's it. If I had to recommend this album, I would definitely do so, especially for Whitesnake fans. I'm sure you all gonna hear this album if you haven't done it so yet. And yeah, again, good album, enjoyable, but still feels quite pointless. And to be honest, I don't think I'm gonna be listening to this for a long time, because every time I want to hear these songs, I have my classic albums to go back to, and every time I want to listen to some Whitesnake, I have my favorite albums such as Love Hunter, which I'm going to go and listen to right now.